This is ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
In the fourth edition of the PapaJohns.com Bowl, a legendary coach will be making his way into a legendary stadium. South Carolina's Steve Spurrier will lead his Gamecocks to Birmingham to face the Connecticut Huskies, led by their stoic head coach, Randy Edsall, who has taken his young program to great heights as they play in their third straight bowl game. It's the Big East versus the SEC, and it's on the way. And welcome to ESPN's coverage of Capital One Bowl Week. It's the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl as the South Carolina Gamecocks face the Connecticut Huskies from historic Legion Field here in Birmingham, Alabama. A couple of 7-5 clubs going at it this afternoon on a frigid afternoon here in the Magic City. You look at the all-time records between these two clubs. This Connecticut club, of course, joining the FBS as a full-time member back in 2002, and they have been to 3 consecutive bowl games. You look at the bowl records, South Carolina hoping to improve on that today. We're going to have a pretty good crowd. They are bundled up, but the South Carolina Gamecocks are ready to go here from Birmingham. And Happy New Year's, everybody. Dave Neal alongside my partner Andre Ware, the Heisman Trophy winner. And Andre, these two clubs got it together down the stretch to get here to the PapaJohns.com Bowl. The South Carolina team beat their arch rival Clemson pretty handily to end their regular season, while UConn won 3 straight to get here to the bowl game. Let's start with South Carolina. How were they able to do that against this very good Clemson football team?
Well, they did it with a lot of young talent, and it starts with their quarterback, Stephen Garcia. His first year as a full-time starter got things turned around from a year ago. You see the 17 touchdown passes, only 9 interceptions. He's got a little help on the outside in the form of Alshon Jeffrey, big-time receiver that can make plays down the field, averaging just over 17 yards a catch with 6 TDs. On the other side, it could be the X factor in this football game. They ran it 58 times against Clemson. Stephon Gilmore, a high school quarterback, lines up at corner for the Gamecocks. But when they go to their Wildcat package that they title the Gilmore, he's the guy pulling the trigger and making things happen down the field for South Carolina.
Yeah, Coach Spurrier says he's had it in the game plan all year. They just got it in against Clemson. Boy, they could have used it earlier that season.
No doubt.
Talking about this UConn team, I think it's been a roller coaster season for this club emotionally as well. To get here is certainly quite an accomplishment, and they did it the way they've been playing football under Randy Edsall, and they just pound the football at you.
Yeah, they just run the football, and they've got 2 guys that they had to replace Donald Brown, a guy that went over 2,000 yards a year ago. 2 players to replace one. Jordan Todman is already over 1,000 yards. He's their home run hitter, a guy that more of a scat back type, can get inside, get to the edge, and then hit the home run for you. Then there's Andre Dixon, more of the every down back, 6'1", over 200 pounds, and can really thump when they need to. And so you've got him just under 1,000 yards. He today can go over 1,000 himself. They could have 2 go over 1,000 today. They love running the football.
Well, Andre, certainly this has been an emotional season for this Connecticut football team for a lot of ways, but I think you don't even have to be a football fan to understand the trials and tribulations of this 2009 edition of the Husky football team. You got to go back to the middle of October 18th, in the early morning hours when they lost one of their own. A defensive back, Jasper Howard, was stabbed outside a campus dance early in the morning after a game when he had 11 tackles against Louisville just a few hours earlier. He was stabbed, and he passed away at the hospital later that night. Randy Edsall, he didn't know which direction this team was going to go. It was his job to kind of make this team refocus, re-energize, and keep Jasper Howard in their memories. Well, they did that, and they did it in big fashion, winning their last 3 football games to get here to the PapaJohns.com Bowl. A remarkable story, the fact that they're even playing in this bowl game. For more on this story, let's go down to the 3rd member of our team, and she's down on the sidelines, Kara Capuano.
Dave, as you mentioned, Jasper Howard is in the hearts and minds of everyone associated with this UConn football program every single day. They do their part to remind us what he meant to them by bringing his number 6 jersey to their games. They wear stickers on their helmets with Jasper Howard's initials. Coach Randy Edsall says that the number 6 will not be worn again at Connecticut until after what would have have been Howard's graduation in May of 2011. The team created this year a new award in his honor, the Jasper T. Howard Play Every Play Award. That's given to the Husky who best exemplifies his battle-to-the-end spirit. This year, it was awarded to senior tailback Andre Dixon. As well, the Big East Conference paying respects to the memory of Jasper Howard by naming him the honorary captain of their all-Big East squads for 2009, the first time that honor was bestowed upon a Big East player. And as you guys know, I think Connecticut Athletic Director Jeff Hathaway summed it up best when he stated eloquently that Jasper Howard will forever be a Husky. Dave?
Thank you very much, Kara. Randy Edsall did a great job in getting this team to kind of bond together in such a difficult situation. Steve Spurrier on the other side, he's played in some big-time games, and he hopes his team can take some of that momentum from the Clemson victory, bring it here to Birmingham, and finish this season out on a very positive note. A very young football team, so he certainly is looking forward to the future as well. A lot to talk about this afternoon. Some of the stories we'll be covering. We'll highlight Eric Norwood playing in his last college football game. What a great story for South Carolina. Young man is a remarkable player, but his story is remarkable, and we will have more on that. College coaching carousel has really heated up the last couple of weeks. We will talk about that, and we'll update you on what has happened in the bowl season and look ahead to some of the games that are coming up in the next few days. But it's time for kickoff at the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl. UConn won the toss. They deferred, so South Carolina will get the football first on a cold, windy afternoon at historic Legion Field. Desi Cullen puts his right foot into it, and we are underway. Bryce Sherman to the 20, and hit at the 25, and dropped right there. So South Carolina's offense will have the football first. Stephen Garcia, their quarterback, the sophomore out of Lutz, Florida. 56% completion percentage, over 2,700 yards to his credit. He's a young man that Coach Spurrier says got better as the season progressed, and he meant kind of matured, I guess, Andre, is the best way to say that.
Yeah, really got better. It seemed like every game along or down the stretch. And last year he split time with Chris Smelly and really couldn't get his feet under him. And this year he just really excelled in the passing game especially.
Garcia will line up in the shotgun. The handoff goes to Kenny Miles, the true freshman, and he maybe gets a yard on the opening play of the game. Take a look at the South Carolina offense. This is a group that is a three-headed monster in terms of running the football, but they do have some talent on the outside. Alshon Jeffrey, Mo Brown, Jason Barnes, all capable receivers, and Wesley Saunders, an outstanding tight end. The offensive line, there's about 10 guys, Coach Spurrier said, that he could rotate in and out. They have played quite a few guys up front trying to figure out a capable blocking group, and he thinks he may have found it here at the PapaJohns.com Bowl. Garcia will throw a pass incomplete, looking for the fullback Patrick DeMarco.
Well, it looked like the wind had a little effect on that pass from Stephen Garcia.
Take a look at the Connecticut defense. This is a group that gives up 25 points a game. That is sixth in the Big East Conference. Joseph Reyes, Martin, and Witten, your front four. Linebacking core, Wilson, Lutris, and Johnson. Jory Johnson, a redshirt freshman out of Mobile, Alabama. There's a look at that secondary that will see a lot of footballs today, I would assume, with Stephen Garcia. Third down, and we'll call it 10. Pressure comes. Garcia hit, ball in the air, incomplete. Garcia got walloped as Jerome Jr. came flying in from his safety spot.
Boy, he's going to be right in the middle. Right in the middle. Jerome Jr., their strong safety, and you're going to see him right here kind of creep right into the picture. Right up the middle between the guard and the center, and right into the chest of Stephen Garcia.
Spencer Lanning will punt it away for the Gamecocks. Robert McClain on the return. Out over the 35 to the 37-yard line. And that is where the Huskies will take over on their first possession of the game. A 45-yard punt, a 4-yard return.
We're kind of going back, Dave, to that sack by Jerome Jr. They're not a heavy blitz team, UConn. They like to play a lot of zone and make you kind of force you down the field, force you into some mistakes. But early, defensive coordinator Todd Orlando kind of going against the norm for the Huskies.
Well, you saw the numbers on Zach Frazier. 54% completion percentage. Started the year, then got hurt. Missed a few games. Finally got his starting job back. A few weeks left in the season. Little end-around sweep to Kashif Moore. Moore run out of bounds after a gain of about 1.5 yards as we take a look at this Husky offense. And we told you about their running game, and it has been sensational between Jordan Todman and Andre Dixon. These two guys have combined for 2,119 yards. Donald Brown last year a 2,000-yard rusher. Guys up front will have to protect Zach Frazier and create some holes. Zach Hurd, first team all Big East guard. Huskies throwing, and is it caught on the far side? No, looking for the tight end Ryan Griffin. Good look at this South Carolina defense. Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator. This has been a solid group all season. Gathers Pepper, Ajaboy, and Matthews up front. It's Wilson, Norwood, and Allen, your linebackers. And in the secondary, which could have been a question mark, has really been highlighted by the performance of the freshman, the true freshman, Stephon Gilmore at corner. Huskies look at a 3rd down. Nickel package for the Gamecocks. Out of the shotgun. Frazier throwing. Incomplete. And the Huskies will have to punt.
Boy, he had the All-American, 3-time All-SEC first-team linebacker Eric Norwood kind of barreling down on him and forced Zach Frazier to get rid of the football a little sooner than he wanted to. And not a receiver in sight. Boy, Norwood, such a good football player, good solid player. Talking to Ellis Johnson, their defensive coordinator, said he's going to be an ideal 3-4 outside linebacker on the next level.
So Cullen will punt it away. Good tight spiral. Sends Gilmore back inside the 20. Stephon looking for a little bit of room and actually goes backwards. Good coverage by the Huskies on the punt. 42 yards and a loss of 5 on the return. When we come back, the Gamecock offense will step back onto the field. We'll look at Alshon Jeffrey, the freshman All-America. He busted onto the scene with 3 100-yard receiving games. Stay with us here on ESPN. It's the PapaJohns.com Bowl from Birmingham, Alabama. Dave Neal, Andre Ware, Kara Capuano. Glad you could be with us here on January 2nd. Scoreless. Each team has had to punt on their opening possession. Gamecocks have it for the second time. Little play fake from Garcia. Throws it near side. Alshon Jeffrey. Good coverage from the Huskies. But Alshon Jeffries, Andre, is a young man, true freshman. 5 receptions, first 5 games. He's had 38 since then.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
He's one of those guys that you don't have to throw the football in his body every time as a quarterback. He's a quarterback's dream. You throw it around him, he's going to make grabs out of the air, one-handed grabs in the end zone for you. Great in the red zone with those 6 touchdown receptions. He's going to be a good player for a long time for Steve Spurrier.
Bryce Sherman, all 5'6", checks in at tailback for the Gamecocks as Garcia goes under center. Trying a little razzle-dazzle, fake toss back to Garcia, but Sherman maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. For more on Alshon Jeffrey, let's go down to Kara.
Well, guys, what an incredible get for Steve Spurrier to keep the kid from St. Matthews, South Carolina, in state at his home school. He was a 2-way player at Calhoun County High School, highly recruited. He was all-state as a defensive back and was a star receiver. He had initially committed to fly across the country and play at Southern California, but literally in the 11th hour, Alshon Jeffrey changed horses and decided to stay at home, along with Stephon Gilmore. That's some great home-based recruiting for Spurrier.
He chose USC East instead of USC West.
Garcia out of the shotgun on 3rd down, trying to set up a little slip screen to who else but Alshon Jeffrey. He gets it to the 25, but he'll be 2 yards shy of the first down. And that'll bring up a 4th down situation, and Coach Spurrier is getting set to call on that punt team.
Well, it's just what we talked about. You don't have to throw it into his body, around him. You see him catch the ball away from his body, so you don't have to be extremely accurate as a quarterback. Just get it around this kid. He's going to make some fantastic plays for you.
Good work by the Huskies defensively. Landing to punt again. His first punt, 45 yards. This is a low, wobbly kick. That will be fielded on one hop by Robert McClain, and he is swallowed up by the fullback, Patrick DeMarco. 42-yard punt, loss of a yard on the return. Scoreless in Birmingham.
ESPN College Football, the PapaJohns.com Bowl, is brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Order online today at www.papajohns.com. And Acura. Acura Advance.
Tell you what, the folks here at Birmingham have put on a pretty good show for the PapaJohns.com Bowl. There were people lined up with their tailgates 3.5 hours before we even got here to the game today. I mean, it was quite a festive atmosphere outside of historic Legion Field. Scoreless between the Gamecocks and the Huskies. First quarter action. UConn's second possession, and line up in the eye. Handoff to Dixon. Andre Dixon out near the 40-yard line. What a shifty runner he is. Antonio Allen with the tackle for South Carolina.
He's a fantastic talent. Good size. It's 6'1", over 200 pounds, and he's got a gear to where he can hit a home run for you as well. You know, Todman's known as the home run hitter of the two of them, but Andre Dixon can take it the distance as well.
Again, give him a couple on that run. He'll be about a yard shy of the first down. Lottie Ajaboy out of Riverdale, Georgia, with the tackle for South Carolina.
Dave, this is a power running football team of UConn. They want to line up, come downhill. They'll put both Todman and Dixon in the I formation and come at you. And if you allow them to have success, especially on the first couple of downs in a series, they will pound away at you all game long.
Couple of tight ends on 3rd and short. It's Dixon. He will have the first down out over the 45-yard line. Clifton Gathers with the tackle for South Carolina. Take a look, Andre, at our impact players.
Yeah, it starts with Marcus Easley, the wide receiver for UConn. He's averaging just under 20 yards a catch. Great after he's got the football in his hands. And a big lineman up front, Zach Hurd, the team's best offensive lineman and a first-team All-Big East performer. And on the other side, Eric Norwood, 3-time first-team All-SEC, the first to accomplish that in school history.
Frazier, quick throw, far side. Swarmed by some white jerseys, but not before Marcus Easley can pick up. Let's give him 7 on that reception. You mentioned Eric Norwood, and what a story he has been for this club in terms of, his performance on the field has been off the charts, but he's gotten it done in the classroom as well, Andre. And you had a chance to talk to Ellis Johnson. He's a former defensive end that they've moved back to linebacker. What has that done for him?
Well, I think it's freed him up. You know, they can line him up and move the defensive ends down inside, put him at defensive end, and his hand on the ground to come after the passer a little bit.
Lottie Ajaboy with a big-time tackle in the Husky backfield. Loss of 2 on the play.
You know, they've got some pretty good defensive ends in Cliff Matthews and Clifton Gathers, but they'll slide those guys inside or one of the two and then put Eric Norwood at defensive end, and he becomes their best pass rusher. In a situation like UConn's in right now, don't be surprised if Eric Norwood doesn't end up in the lap of Zach Frazier.
It looks like Dixon's in some serious pain on that pitch, so Todman in the game alongside Frazier, who will throw on 3rd down. Throws a bullet that's caught at the 40-yard line by Marcus Easley, who now has 46 grabs on the year. Give him 9 and move the change for the Huskies.
Well, thank you, Marcus, for making us look good. One of our impact players. Nice slant route, quick delivery from Zach Frazier, and I like the placement of the football. Right out in front, easy catch for Marcus Easley, and he is dangerous after he has the football in his hands.
Great numbers, averaging almost 20 yards per reception. That is unheard of for somebody who catches it as much as easily. 7th play of the drive coming up. Todman in a wildcat formation gets the snap.
You know, we talked about Easley and converting that first down. He only had 5 career receptions in his first 26 games as a Husky coming into this season, and just exploded his senior year. Now one of the most feared men all season long in the Big East.
I mean, his numbers have been fantastic this year with 8 touchdown receptions. 2nd down. Been a nice drive by the Huskies. Play number 8 coming up. Frazier will throw, batted in the air, and it's incomplete. South Carolina with a sellout, but it was Cliff Matthews, the defensive end, that got his hand on the football. Cliff, a young man that they didn't know how much they would get from him. He's playing on a bad shoulder. He injured it versus Tennessee. They didn't think he was going to be back all year.
Well, you're going to see him right here at the top of your screen, and just kind of watch him as he gets to the quarterback. Nice outside, then right up the middle, right into the face mask, or right in the face of Zach Frazier. It's tough when you got a guy 6'5" coming right at you.
3rd down. Frazier lofts it up. One-handed grab. Touchdown Huskies. Kashif Moore just ripped it right out of the air. Oh my! You will not see a better grab than that all year.
That might be the best catch I've seen all season long from Khalif Moore. He's known as their speed receiver, and he gets loose down the sideline. Kind of a little switch route where he starts inside, comes back out, and then up the sideline. Look at that grab.
Come on.
That's sick good.
His 3rd touchdown reception of the season. The point after is up and good. That's incredible. On a cold, frigid afternoon, you'd never know it. Maybe it just froze in that right hand. Look at that grab. Didn't need the left hand. 6 points on the board for Moore with the point after. It's 7-0 Huskies. Kashif Moore with an outstanding grab to give the Huskies a 7-0 lead here in the first quarter. UConn 3 out of 3 on 3rd downs on that drive, including that touchdown pass for 37 yards was on 3rd down as well. That was an impressive drive by the Huskies.
And an impressive catch. I mean, he one-hands it. Usually a guy's got to bring it into his body. He one-hands it in stride.
Never even used the left hand. Here's Bryce Sherman from the 5. Bryce makes a man miss, gets to the 23, and then is hammered a couple of times right there. They'll actually spot it back at the 23.5-yard line. Let's go back to that touchdown.
Yeah, let's take a look. And we call this a switch route where the outside receiver is going to start down and inside. And you get Khalif Moore right here on the outside. Going to come right off the backside of the receiver, start, hesitate, and then down the sideline. And what opens this baby up is the hesitation right there. Now he's down the sideline after he frees the defense, and then the rest is just pure athletic ability with the hands. Oh, what a grab.
You see receivers practice that all the time. It actually pays off. Handoff left side. Garcia keeps it, and he gets swallowed up.
Yes, sir, this is worth taking another look at right here. I like big plays, and especially exciting plays like that. Man, that may be one of the best receptions of all season of 09 right there.
We saw a good one in the Ole Miss Mississippi State game. Shea Hodge had a great touchdown grab in that contest, but I think that's this one right here by Moore one-up that. Garcia to throw near side. Torrey Gurley, the redshirt freshman, with the catch. Bleedy Ray Wilson on the coverage. It is the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl. Dave Neal, Andre Ware, Kara Capuano on a frigid afternoon from historic Legion Field here in Birmingham, Alabama. South Carolina 7-5. The Connecticut Huskies 7-5. UConn playing in their third straight bowl game. 4 of the last 6 years they've been to the postseason. Goes to Brian Maddox. Not much happening on third down. Well, we got a second. Let's go back to our studios. Reese Davis, what do you got?
Dave, I want to get you up to date on what's going on in the International Bowl. Now, look, sometimes I think this conference pride stuff's a little bit overrated, but the Mid-American Conference has lost 13 in a row, and USF's B.J. Daniels finds A.J. Love against Northern Illinois. And if the Huskies fail to rally in the fourth quarter on ESPN2, that will be 14 straight losses for the MAC. Back to the football capital of the South in Legion Field.
Thank you, Reese. I think you might have been here a time or two in your day, if I'm not mistaken. Timeout as Steve Spurrier and company calling a timeout on fourth down. We'll come back to Legion Field in a moment. Well, Steve Spurrier is going to go for it, backed up inside his own 35 on fourth down and 1. Garcia, quarterback sneak. Going to need a little bit of a surge.
I don't think he got it.
This is all about the spot here.
I don't think he got it. I mean, he didn't get the thrust forward that you would normally get. And boy, how about this UConn defense? A couple of 3-and-outs to start the game for South Carolina. And then here, I don't think he got it. Todd Orlando, their defensive coordinator, got a chance to talk to him this week, and he said they're not a huge blitz team, and they want to shut you down kind of the conventional way, force you to become one-dimensional. But, you know, he did it a different way earlier in the game. Brought a couple of blitzes on Steven Garcia, and they stop him.
What do you think about that, Andre?
It's a little bit early to go chasing, points after the touchdown. And Kendall Reyes and Lawrence Wilson are two guys that were in there to stop Steven Garcia. But no movement up front from the offensive line, and they actually win the pad level battle. And they're able to stop the thrust of the offensive line, and therefore they're going to have great field position. You almost surrender a field goal when you go for it on your end of the field and don't make it.
Well, the Huskies with great field position. A little razzle-dazzle from UConn as Jordan Todman powers his way inside the 20. A 17-yard pickup. There were white jerseys hanging all over him from the time he got the football, but he found a way to pick up 17 yards.
Well, you got a little taste of Andre Dixon the previous drive. Now they're going to give you some Jordan Todman. And nice blocking up front. Mo Petrus, the center, getting out in front, helping out. A couple of missed tackles there.
So first down and 10. Ball sits at the 16-yard line. 5-man front by the Gamecocks. This time they were able to get their hands on Todman.
Well, now the responsibility, Dave, shifts to the defensive unit of South Carolina. Offense unable to come up with a first down conversion. A lot of pressure on the defense. Bad field position. Now you're just trying to hold to a field goal attempt, and a small win is what I want to call it, or what I call it here. Just a field goal would be a small win for South Carolina.
Out of the shotgun, Zach Frazier, the junior quarterback. Pressure comes, throws over the middle. Wide open was his tight end, Ryan Griffin, and he just airmailed him.
Well, the coaches are really high on Ryan Griffin. He is the complete tight end. He can run, he can block at 6'6", 240 pounds. They get pressure off the edges of Antonio Allen. He's the guy that arrives first, and Zach Frazier just a little bit off the mark.
So another third down coming up. Zach Frazier knows he had a chance for a second touchdown pass here in the opening quarter. UConn 3 out of 4 on third downs today. Their last drive, they were perfect 3 out of 3. Frazier, pressure comes, avoids one man, lofts it up, incomplete.
I like it. Smart play by Zach Frazier, because you don't want to take points off the board. You pretty much got a guaranteed field goal for David Taggart. And they get pressure with Devin Taylor off the edge into the face early of Zach Frazier, forcing him out of the pocket. But I like it. Throw the football away and give your team a chance to add to the lead.
33-yarder on the way from David Taggart, who hit the game winner in the season finale in the snow and the bitter cold to beat South Florida on the last play of the game from the far hash.
Yes, yes.
It is up and it is good. So the Huskies get a gift. South Carolina failed on 4th down in their own territory. The Huskies make them pay with a field goal. 10-0 UConn out in front. Well, Thursday, January 7th, ABC delivers #1 versus #2 in the City BCS National Championship game. Can Texas senior Colt McCoy lead the Longhorns to their first championship since the 2006 Rose Bowl? Or will Heisman winner Mark Ingram lead Nick Saban's Crimson Tide to the promised land? So many questions to be answered. We do know this, that Mark Ingram had a spectacular season capped off by the Heisman Trophy. You know, Andre, there is that jinx out there. You're a Heisman Trophy winner. What do you make of that?
Yeah, he'll play fine. You know, this is an Alabama football team that is big-time talented on both sides of the football. You know, hey, it just works out that way sometimes. But I think Mark Ingram's going to play a fine football game, and Alabama's going to be tough to defeat.
You know, a lot of people want to put Alabama as a favorite in that game, but Nick Saban has tried to shoot those down at every opportunity.
He can try. He's got his football team's too good.
Right.
You can't shoot that one down, no matter how he goes about it.
Desi Cullen will kick it off. Taken by Sherman just inside the 10. The Shermanator, as they call him, at 5 feet 6 inches tall, out over the 35. Robert McClain with the special teams tackle for the Husky.
Well, they've struggled the first couple of drives of this ball game, and you talk about all the offensive line combinations that Steve Spurrier's used this season, and I think that they've got some talented skill positions. The development of Stephen Garcia has been superb. Big-time tight end who I really, really love, and Wesley Saunders, Alshon Jeffrey, good, solid skill position players. They've got to get things ironed out up front.
South Carolina hasn't gotten past midfield yet. Garcia under pressure, steps up in the pocket, going deep, looking for Jeffrey. Nearly had a great grab. It falls at the 15-yard line. Robert McClain, the senior, with the coverage, was running stride for stride with Alshon.
Boy, that's a tough match when you talk about a guy like Alshon Jeffrey, 6'3", long arms, and Robert McClain, who is a captain, one of the captains of this football team, right here making a play. You see why he's voted by his teammates as a captain. Nice playmaker after moving over from running back to corner. He's got good ball skills.
Yeah, 10 career interceptions, 4 this year for McClain. 4-man front from UConn, 2nd down and 10. Garcia will run it. Garcia out over the 40 to the 42-yard line. That'll be 3 yards shy of the first down. Sticks, take a look at some impact players for South Carolina.
Now we'll start with Wesley Saunders, a big tight end, 6'5", 280 pounds, huge target. I really like this kid. He could be a matchup problem for UConn in their secondary and linebackers. Kenny Miles, number 31, led the team in rushing this season. He's their best threat on the ground. And then defensively, Lawrence Wilson, 136 tackles, their leader in that department.
South Carolina looking for their first 3rd down conversion today, and they're not going to get it. They're going to be a yard shy.
I think they're still going to be, you're right, they're still going to be looking for that first down. Kendall Reyes, who's having an outstanding football game for UConn early. Well, he was one of the guys in on that stop of Stephen Garcia on the 4th down that South Carolina tried to convert. Right there, making another big play on 3rd down.
Well, this time, Steve Spurrier, instead of going for it, will punt it away. Spencer Lanning will have the honors. Good driving kick that will hit at the 22 and bounce out of bounds at the 20-yard line. South Carolina this year comes in 7-5. They finished 3-5 in conference play. And as you look at, speaking of conference, some of the statistics from the bowl season through these bowl games, and
boy, the Mountain West,
how about that, undefeated?
They opened up a can early and they haven't stopped. I mean, you talk about a nice start to the bowl season. They have had an outstanding bowl season so far.
First down and 10 for the Huskies at the 20. Handoff goes to Dixon, who's back on the field. He left 2 possessions ago. Looked like he was in some serious pain. Todman came in, ran well. Now Dixon back on the field. Gain of 9.
You see why they're so effective in using 2 running backs. A fresh guy on the field each and every carry. Whether it's Dixon or Todman, they never stop coming at you.
Out of the I formation, Dixon out to the 33-yard line. That'll be a first down carry. For more on Dixon, let's check in with Kara once again.
Well, guys, it was the funny bone of the left elbow that was giving Andre Dixon some problems. They tightly wrapped it, and then they threw on the sleeve, and he basically had to practice whether he could properly tuck the ball. Did it a few times, looked at the head trainer, Bob Howard, and said, let's go. So he's ready. He's not going to miss his last game of his senior year.
Kara, 5 first downs today for this Husky offense. 0 first downs for South Carolina. Frazier throws. Pass caught over the middle at the 43-yard line. It goes to Marcus Easley. His 3rd catch today. Stephon Gilmore on the coverage for South Carolina. A gain of 11 and another first down.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what makes this play is going to be the block of Andre Dixon. I mean, just kind of stymies the defensive lineman right at the line of scrimmage, stops him and allows Zach Frazier the time needed to get the football out. Boy, that's big time right there. Just step up and pick up a nice block for your quarterback.
Out of the eye, here's Dixon, working the right side. Not much happening on that play. Clifton Gathers, the junior out of Georgetown, South Carolina, with his 2nd tackle today.
You know, you talk about Dixon and that block. Ojibwe, the defensive lineman, 285 pounds, outweighs him by 83 pounds and just stopped him right in his tracks. I like that stuff. That's doing the extra for your football team right there. The little things that kind of go unnoticed during a football game.
Well, the clock strikes zeros here in the first quarter, a quarter that South Carolina is glad has finally come to a close. The UConn defense put on a clinic. No first downs for the Gamecocks. Never sniffed midfield, and the Huskies get a touchdown pass, 37-yarder to Kashif Moore, and a field goal to lead it 10-0 over the Gamecocks as we have played 15 minutes. Stay with us. Back to Birmingham in a moment.
Joined by Robert Roberts, the Monday morning quarterback.
South Carolina band staying warm. Trying to anyway. Right now their offense a little bit cold. UConn, on the other hand, they've pretty much had their way. Second quarter football from the PapaJohns.com Bowl. Well, inside handoff goes to Andre Dixon. Andre, what are your thoughts about Zach Frazier so far today, the quarterback for UConn?
You know, he took a little criticism earlier in the year and lost his starting spot, but then kind of regained it with a knee injury to Cody Indris. And now he's come back, and I tell you what, he's looked tremendous in this ball game. Nice touchdown pass to Kashif Moore, but he's been consistent with the football, knowing what to do with it. I don't think the stats tell the tale of how well he's played. 4 of 9, but boy, has he been accurate.
3rd down. This pass might have been tapped. I think Clifton Gathers might have gotten a hand on that pass as it falls incomplete. And that'll bring up a 4th down.
And I say accurate because, Dave, he's had to throw the football away to save his football teams at times. His football team at times. He's had a couple of tip passes as this one was tipped. But when he makes up his mind to go somewhere and Clifton Gathers gets his hand on that one, he has been deliberate and on time with the football. A couple of passes to Marcus Easley, and we saw that touchdown pass to Kashif Moore.
So the South Carolina defense stands tall here, forcing a punt. Desi Cullen makes it. It hits at the 30. They'll see where they spot it. Probably close to that 25-yard line. It'll be at the 24-yard line. Not a great punt, but 31 yards for Cullen. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN tonight at 9 Eastern with the Valero Alamo Bowl as Greg Jones and the Michigan State Spartans try to contain Taylor Potts and the Texas Tech Red Raiders spread offense. Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN and ESPN360.com tonight at 9 Eastern. Boy, what a mess it is down at Texas Tech right now with Mike Leach being fired as the head coach. Just crazy.
You know, I just hope the kids there can put it together, and Ruffin McNeil, the defensive coordinator, who is now the interim head coach, can get the best out of those kids.
Quick hitter to Wesley Saunders. Gain of a couple on the play, brought down by Scott Luttress, the linebacker. But back to Mike Leach. And
best football coach, and you know, nothing against Spike Dykes, who was a legendary coach at Texas Tech before Mike Leach got there. But he's the best coach Texas Tech has ever had in terms of winning on the football field.
You see, he went 5-4 in bowl games. Really put Texas Tech football back on a map. And in the national conversation. Garcia's pass over the middle was bobbled. I think that was Kenny Miles. It was, and he got lit up by a couple of Husky defenders. Scott Luttress, the junior middle linebacker, the first one there.
I'm going to take a listen to this. This is pads on pads. Well, you hear the crunching. Scott Luttress
on a
bringing the wood. Yeah, that'll rattle those teeth around a little bit.
So another third down.
Wait.
They are 0 for 4 on third downs and looking at a 3rd and 10. Garcia lofts it up. Far sideline. Incomplete. DeMarco, the fullback out of the backfield, was the intended target, being chased down by Lawrence Wilson. And, you know, this South Carolina offense, you know, this year, Andre, not a great season when you look at terms of points scored. They were 11th in the SEC, 96th in the country at 21.8 per game. But they had their moments, which gave, you know, Gamecock fans, you know, a little glimmer of hope.
I think it's, you know, you look at it, 76th in the country in overall offense and total offense. And until they get the offensive line ironed out, they're going to continue to have some problems.
There's Robert McClain. He's dropped back at the 32-yard line. Darian Stewart with a special teams tackle. 42-yard punt, no return. So when we come back, the UConn offense back on the field, and Jordan Todman, who's had an outstanding season for the Huskies, back on the field. A 1,000-yard performer. Stay with us right here on ESPN. UConn off to a great start at the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl. They lead South Carolina 10-0. First ever meeting between these two clubs. UConn, their offense back on the field. Zach Frazier in the shotgun formation. His running back is Todman. He will get the little swing pass and stop and throw. Lofting it up. Far sideline. Incomplete. Around the 35-yard line. Marcus Easley, the intended target. Chris Culliver on the coverage for South Carolina.
Well, a little razzle-dazzle, and they got the one-on-one coverage that they wanted for Marcus Easley. Just got to throw it on out there. Right here, swing pass. You see it's a lateral behind the line of scrimmage. Kind of tucks it behind his back. Right there, actually, Marcus Easley steps out of bounds, but nice coverage by South Carolina. Chris Culliver did not get fooled.
So 2nd down and 10. Shotgun again for Frazier. Here's the handoff to Todman out to the 35, 36-yard line. Give him a gain of 3. Ajaboy on the tackle. Let's check in once again with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Dave, once again checking in on South Florida and Northern Illinois. It's on ESPN2 and HD, the International Bowl. Again, it's B.J. Daniels, A.J. Love. Second time those two have hooked up. Daniels, an impressive young quarterback, 20-3. Bulls have the lead. AT&T Cotton Bowl, Ole Miss and Oklahoma State. They played through one quarter. A couple of powerful offenses, both held scoreless.
Thanks, Reese. 3rd down and 7 here in Birmingham. Shotgun for Frazier. Pass caught over the middle. Marcus Easley has a first down near midfield. Brought down by Shaq Wilson. A gain of 13.
Boy, they pick up the corner blitz of Stephon Gilmore coming from the short side. And that's where the reputation comes from for Marcus Easley. Great after the catch right here. Nice little drag route underneath, but able to turn himself up the football field and pick up the first down for the Huskies.
The I formation. Dixon on the field now. He'll get the handoff left side. Right back to the line of scrimmage where he's met by Eric Norwood. But how about the combination of Jordan Todman and Andre Dixon? There were some questions about how were they going to run the football effectively after the departure of Donald Brown. But Andre, it's been a great story.
Yeah, it really has. And when I asked Randy Edsall earlier in the week about that, he was very, very careful about his description, because I asked him, what's better, one guy to go over 2,000 or to have two do it? But he had so much admiration for Donald Brown that he did not want to say anything that was negative towards Donald.
Boy, Todman nowhere to run. South Carolina. It looks like
they're going to give him forward progress.
Yeah, I thought they were going to mark it back, about a 4-yard loss, but they'll give him his forward progress back to the line of scrimmage. Chris Culliver and Antonio Allen, first guys there.
But to finish that thought, he talked about Donald Brown and having an every down back and one guy to go over 2,000. But, you would much rather have it as a coach. And Randy Edsall kind of echoed this, is to have two guys so that you always have one fresh guy in the game at all times.
Shotgun on 3rd down, and we'll say a long 9. Caught over the middle. Isaiah Moore. First down, UConn inside the 30, down to the 26-yard line. Another missed tackle allows Moore to pick up some extra yards, but a 25-yard gain.
Boy, one Moore got himself involved early, and here comes the other Moore, Isaiah Moore. Nice route in the middle of the field, little dig in the middle. Just showing his numbers to the quarterback. And what I like, the effort of these UConn receivers after the catch. That's a quarterback's best friend. When you can just deliver the football to a guy and he picks up that extra 5, 6, 8 yards after the grab.
Good stiff arm by Dixon. Turns the corner, gets a yard. Akeem Auguste brings him down, the sophomore corner. First man to make the hit. Then Josh Dickerson came in as well. Well, the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl has been all UConn to this point. 9:33 here in the second quarter. Randy Edsall's Huskies, 37-yard touchdown pass and a field goal, lead 10-0. Dave Neal, Andre Ware, Kara Capulano. Glad you could be with us on a cold afternoon from historic Legion Field.
We're going to talk about struggles. Andre Dixon, who's in the football game right now, right around 25 yards, 28 yards of total offense for South Carolina.
Frazier falls incomplete, looking for Kasif Moore. Akeem Auguste on the coverage for South Carolina. Look at the statistical numbers here. Huskies 48 yards on the ground, just 9 for South Carolina. 100 yards through the air for Frazier and a touchdown pass. Garcia only 19. I mean, this has been a dominating performance to this point by UConn.
Well, usually in bowl games, a team that can run the football effectively, offensive linemen firing off and can provide just a little bit of space, they have the early success. When you are off so long and you're a passing offense, especially when the conditions as they are today aren't ideal, takes you a little bit longer to get started. The timing's thrown off just enough to where you have that slow start.
Randy Edsall takes the timeout. 9:07 to go, second quarter. Back in a moment.
ESPN College Football, the PapaJohns.com Bowl, is brought to you by Capital One, what's in your wallet, and GMC, we are professional grade.
Well, last Thursday, the teams visited Vestavia Bowl Family and Fun Center. Bowling Center hosted student athletes from both these teams, and they enjoyed a little Dreamland barbecue, a little bowling contest, arcade games. It's been a fun-filled week.
Kind of makes me reminisce about our crew when we had our bowling night out.
I think those guys might have been a little bit better bowlers than our crew. I'm just saying.
I don't know. We had some guys that put up some pretty good numbers.
Well, here's a 3rd down and 10 coming up. 9:07 to go second quarter. Huskies up by 10. Frazier out of the shotgun. Dixon to his right. Overthrows Kashif Moore. He had him.
Well, it becomes a tough throw when you have number 40 barreling down on you. And Eric Norwood right there forcing Zach Frazier to speed up the process a little bit and forced a throw that was a little bit high to Kashif Moore. You know, the job I like that Zach Frazier's done, when they have an opportunity for points, he has not taken a sack, turned the football over. He's given his team a chance to add to this lead.
44-yard field goal from Taggart. It is good. This young man has had kind of an up-and-down season, but he knocked one home against South Florida to win the game in this regular season finale, and he's 2 out of 2 here in the PapaJohns.com Bowl, and that gives the Huskies a 13-0 lead. Well, the college football postseason continues on ESPN Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern with the GMAC Bowl as Dan Lefevre and the Central Michigan Chippewas take on the Troy Trojans. The GMAC Bowl on ESPN and ESPN360.com Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
I think one of the only quarterback, Dan Lefevre, to throw for over 12,000 yards and rush for over 3,000 for his career. Dan Lefevre, one of my favorites of all time of college football. He is a player.
You think he's got a chance?
I definitely think he's got a chance. He's mobile. He's big. He can make all the throws. Definitely will have a chance on the next level. No doubt about it.
Look at those offensive numbers. Over 15,000 total yards. That is just, that's crazy. The Huskies putting on a crazy performance. They have come out and really stuck it to South Carolina today. A couple of field goals and a touchdown. That last scoring drive, 10 plays. Their touchdown drive was a 9-play drive that took up over 4 minutes as well. Desi Cullen to kick it off. It's a short kick. Sherman out to the 23-yard line, and he is dropped on the spot. So South Carolina's offense has got to get going. And Andre, what's been going wrong, and B, how do they fix it?
Well, I think it's just they've been defeated at the line of scrimmage, and it's been the defensive line. Kendall Reyes, the sophomore defensive tackle, has kind of wreaked havoc. To call Lawrence Wilson's name a lot, Tywan Martin, those guys inside for UConn have just really controlled the line of scrimmage, and therefore unable to run the football. South Carolina, now you're getting the pressure in the face of Stephen Garcia in passing situations.
Garcia under center. Nowhere to go. Swallowed up. Kendall Reyes, who was from the opening snap been the aggressor on that defensive front. He'll get credit for the sack.
Boy, he has been playing like a man possessed. Just whips the guy in front of him. That's what they ask you to do. Just beat the guy in front of you. He does it. He beats T.J. Johnson, the redshirt freshman, to the inside, and that's the shortest position or shortest way to the quarterback, and that where Stephen Garcia was setting up. But you talk about a guy that has had a nice ball game, an early first half here. Kendall Reyes he's been unreal. One sack, 3 tackles, but seems like you've called his name every play.
Mo Brown goes in motion as Garcia lines up in the shotgun. Garcia. That pass is incomplete. Looking for Alshon Jeffrey out over the 25-yard line. Let's check in once again with Kara.
Well, guys, Steve Spurrier has been stressing to the Gamecocks over the month of December, to beat Connecticut, to be successful, you have to be physical. You have to be tough. These two teams really know nothing about each other. They've never faced each other. South Carolina doesn't have a single Connecticut native on its roster, and likewise, the Huskies have no players from South Carolina. He said toughness is going to be key, and as you mentioned, Andre, it starts in the trenches.
Those guys up front are going to have to be good on this third down if South Carolina wants to pick up their first down of the game. I think Steve Spurrier wanted a timeout, didn't like what he saw, and yes, he will get the timeout.
Boy, this resembles, and I was at that Outback Bowl last year when South Carolina faced Iowa. This resembles it in a big, big way.
Not good news for South Carolina fans, I guess. Back in a moment.
That's great.
Back at historic Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama on a cold afternoon. 13-0 UConn out in front. South Carolina cannot move the football this afternoon. They're looking at a third down and long. Garcia will throw. Wide side to Alshon Jeffrey. He makes the catch at the 36-yard line. A gain of 18. What a grab.
Yeah.
And how about the throw to the wide side?
And had to have it. It's the first down of this ball game for South Carolina. And standing in there, I was surprised with the time that the offensive line gave Stephen Garcia. But Robert McClain, the guy on the outside, making the tackle.
Garcia, a little keeper out over the 40 as South Carolina goes to their quick game. Boy, 5 drives today for this South Carolina offense, and it has not been very productive. They had 22 drives on the 22 yards on the previous 5 drives. They have 19 on this one.
Until that first down, it was 4 of 5 possessions that they've gone 3 and out, and it seems to have sparked them. That little timeout that Steve Spurrier took, I don't know what he said along the sideline, but it sparked Stephen Garcia. It sparked the receivers. Alshon Jeffrey makes a nice grab for a first down. And here they come. Jason Barnes converting then.
Garcia will keep it. Well, they've gone to the quick game. It was the first down, I think, that's kind of helped them a little bit. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and they've quickened the pace offensively. And what that does is that takes the thought process out of it for everybody. Now you just go to the line of scrimmage, the play calls, you react, and just get the play run. So all the thought, all the thinking, and the methodical stuff that goes on in there, that's taken away. Just go play football.
Garcia. And a flag. Looks like movement, and just when South Carolina gets it going. Back up 5 yards.
Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
I like it, though. A nice adjustment. Changing things up, and just go play.
It's almost like a basketball team that likes to press. If they're not going to make a shot, they can't use their press, and then they're not playing their game. If South Carolina can't get a first down, they can't get into the hurry-up game. So second down now coming up. Garcia, wide side throw to Jason Barnes. That'll be good enough to move the chains. Robert Vaughn pushes him out of bounds, but that's 16 more yards. And for the first time today, the Gamecocks in UConn territory.
Boy, just outflanks the defense right here. And once the receiver gets just a step or two outside of the linebacker who's closing from inside out, now you put the football on him, out in front, allow him to just make a move, get up the field, and pick up the first down.
46 yards on this drive alone. A couple of tight ends in the game. Gamecocks will continue to throw. Garcia looking for Jeffrey. That's incomplete near the goal line.
Looks as though he thought Jeffrey was going to stay right up the hash mark, and Alshon breaks the post route inside, and ball's thrown right up the hash. Well, you'll see him right here, just kind of running the post route, deep post down the field, and that one's thrown right up the hash mark. It's a little miscommunication between quarterback and receiver there.
9th play of the drive coming up on second down and 10. Quick throw, near side, nearly picked off. Robert McClain nearly had his 11th career interception.
I'd leave him alone. He's got 4 on the season already, but boy, did he get a tremendous break on Alshon Jeffrey, and we saw him defend down the field. Now, he got hit for the first down for the Gamecocks on this drive, but boy, did he get a break on this football.
McClain, third on this team in total tackles this year with 60, and of course those 4 interceptions, and he's just a playmaker in that secondary. Third down and 10. Looks like UConn about to bring some pressure. They do. South Carolina picked it up pretty well. Garcia just throws it up to Jeffrey. He's going to have to make a play and can't do it. The ball hung up in the air way too long. Robert Vaughn came over to finally knock it away.
I learned something earlier this year, and it's when a defender, a cornerback who's smaller than a big guy like Alshon Jeffrey. I learned this from Lane Kiffin. He said that they don't teach it to go up and try to intercept the football, because a guy like that will usually just go right over the top of you and grab the football and make a play. You go up to knock the football away, and it was a nice play by Robert Vaughn, the safety, to just get up and knock the football away from Alshon Jeffrey.
52-yard attempt, and it's a fake that goes nowhere. Robert McClain makes the tackle. Looked like a juggled, maybe snap. And South Carolina couldn't take advantage of their best drive of the afternoon.
They opened just to get the field goal off.
Wow.
But it may have been just a bit of a juggle trying to put the football down. Not sure about the snap. Snap was a little bit high, but Stephen Flint just could not handle it. And the frustrations continue for South Carolina.
Here goes Dixon across midfield to the 47-yard line of South Carolina. Give him 9 on the carry. And
that may have put him over 1,000 yards.
Check my numbers. Let's see.
He needed 8. I know at one point about a drive ago.
35 yards today. He came in with 967. So give him 1,000 yards this season. 2,000-yard rushers in the backfield for the Huskies. Here's Dixon again inside the 45 to the 44-yard line.
Well, you think he doesn't know? You know, a couple of seasons ago he had about 830-something odd yards, and last year, of course, Donald Brown was the workhorse and going over 2,000 yards. He was just sitting right there, could smell the 1,000 yards. He's running the football as though he knows he's very, very close to going over. My man, you are over.
Well, of course, he'll be forever remembered for the touchdown run and the second overtime and the win over Notre Dame. Among his career highlights, here's Dixon trying to add to those highlights. He's running hard inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line, a 6-yard pickup. He's a young man, Andre, that, you know, had a couple of mishaps, a couple of missteps in his career at Connecticut. But Randy Edsall telling us that he really believed in this young man and gave him a couple of extra chances that some kids you just don't feel like they're going to overcome. But he felt like Dixon was a solid kid, had just made a couple of bad decisions, and he's able to play here at UConn in his senior year, over 1,000 yards. He's going to get his degree. Pressure comes, down goes Frazier, back near midfield. Stephon Gilmore.
How long have you been waiting to say that one?
You liked that, didn't you?
How long have you been waiting to say that one? They go with the corner blitz from the short side of the field. And it's going to be Stephon Gilmore, the talented true freshman, to come from from the front side of Zach Frazier. And as you say, down goes Frazier.
As soon as I got this bowl assignment.
Oh, man.
Third down and long. Out of the shotgun is Frazier. Pressure comes. He's hit as he throws. Pass is caught, but right about the 45-yard line by Kashif Moore, and that'll be well shy of the first down. He gets 5 yards back, so right back to pretty much the original line of scrimmage. Shaq Wilson makes the tackle, and here comes the Husky punt team.
Well, good job defensively by South Carolina after the bobble snap or the bobbled hole on the field goal. It's big to just kind of, they could ill afford for UConn to go down and put any more points on the scoreboard before halftime. So nice job of holding the Huskies.
So Cullen will punt it away. Stephon Gilmore with the fair catch inside the 20-yard line. Stephen Garcia in this Gamecock offense, they need to find something, anything. Garcia, 17 touchdown passes on the season. Would love to add to those totals here. The offense and the Gamecocks back on the field when we come back to historic Legion Field. I'm excited for halftime, too, I guess, and find out what happened there.
Yeah, take it. Pitt beat somebody today.
Yeah, go figure. We have 2:19 to go before halftime. 13-0. Huskies out in front. Garcia and the South Carolina offense has been struggling. Had a pretty good drive. Moments ago, here's Garcia on the run, trying to turn the corner. He does. Knocked out of bounds over the 30 to the 32-yard line. Well, Andre, this has been a sluggish start offensively for South Carolina. Stephen Garcia is the trigger man. I guess it starts with him.
Yeah, I think it does. And, quarterbacks that get themselves started a little bit different. Everyone's different. Sometimes it's a throw, a nice curl route, or a deep ball down the sideline, something easy. But I think with Stephen Garcia, it's running the football. He's known it. That's what he adds to South Carolina's offense, pulling the football down, making plays. And until he makes a nice run, that's when he gets himself settled in.
Out of the shotgun, Garcia stands in the pocket, throws over the middle. That pass is caught. Torrey Gurley, a couple of yards on that catch. But, I got to ask you, it is cold here. We did a game at UTEP earlier this year. Did you bring that back from El Paso?
It's a product of not packing very well. I didn't think it was going to be this cold.
It's hard to look
in Birmingham, Alabama. But, I got the heat pad working. I'm all right.
Kenny Miles on the reception. But yeah, sure, you got it. This is unbelievable.
I got the heating pad working, keep my hands warm. I got the blanket. Hey, I'm all right. I'm ready.
This is my Heisman Trophy. I've been working with this all year, just so you know at home. Crazy. Third down coming up. Garcia in the shotgun, clock. Hits 60 seconds to go. Overthrows Wesley Saunders, and you got to really throw it high to get it over his hands. A 6'5", 280-pounder.
We talked about what gets quarterbacks started, and it's okay if, that's how Stephen Garcia settles himself into a football game, is with a little bit of contact after a run. If that's what gets you started, hey, call it a little bit earlier and let him get settled in a little earlier. But until the previous drive, which I thought was the best drive for South Carolina, he ran the football early in that drive, then all of a sudden he started hitting passes down the field.
So here's Spencer Lanning. McClain will field it inside the 15. McClain dancing around out over the 25 to the 27-yard line with 41 seconds to go before intermission. Well, from coast to coast, you can now get the latest news on the teams you care about the most. The power of ESPN covering the Boston, Chicago, Dallas, and now Los Angeles sports scenes. News, opinion, and special sports center just for your city. The inside info you're accustomed to, now with local flavor. It's ESPNLosAngeles.com, ESPNChicago.com, ESPNBoston.com, and ESPNDallas.com. And as you saw, Andre with his little snuggie.
Yeah, a couple of them wish they had my
your little setup, huh?
On. That's right. Julie up here, she's taking good care of me with a blanket and a nice heating pad. Looking out for me. Teamwork.
Unbelievable. Well, Andre, this South Carolina offense has got, no momentum at all. UConn is dominated from the opening kick. What is Steve Spurrier telling his club at halftime?
Well, it's just a 13-point lead. In South Carolina, they can score and score in a hurry. When you have athletes like Alshon Jeffrey and Wesley Saunders, I think it's spread the football around. I think they've actually gone to Jeffries a little bit too much and relied on him. Now you got to start taking advantage of some of the other playmakers. Mo Brown, get him involved in the football game where you're not so one-dimensional of just drop back and look for Alshon Jeffrey. Distribute the football around a little bit better.
Zach Frazier with a decent first half. Missed a couple of throws, but hit when he needed to. 7 out of 15, 103 yards. Had that 37-yard touchdown pass. Let's check in with Kara.
First downs, few and far between for South Carolina. No points on the board. How has UConn stymied the Gamecocks offense?
Well, our kids have just played hard, and we've executed very, very well, and that's the key to it. I'm upset we gave up the 3rd and 16, and we're getting some pressure, but the kids are playing hard and they're executing.
What would you like to see improve in the second half?
Well, I just like to keep doing what we're doing defensively, and then offensively make a few more plays and run the ball with a little bit more effectiveness. We did there at the end, and we took the sack, which I didn't like, but I think we just got to keep playing hard. If we can keep playing hard and not have the mistakes, we got an excellent chance to win.
All about finishing strong. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll let him get back in there, Dave.
All right, thank you very much, Kara. 156 total yards for UConn. Our score at halftime, UConn 13, South Carolina nothing. Now let's go to Reese Davis, Mark May, and Lou Holtz in the H&R Block halftime report. And welcome back to ESPN's coverage of Capital One Bowl Week. It's the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl as the South Carolina Gamecocks face the Connecticut Huskies from historic Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. UConn 13, the Gamecocks nothing. Dave Neal, Andre Ware back with you here on a cold, frosty afternoon at the football capital of the South. And Andre, UConn looks like they've been playing football in the South for a long time. This weather hasn't bothered them, and they've played great. What does South Carolina got to do to kind of get a little bit of momentum?
Well, the Huskies are used to this type of weather late in the year when you talk about the Northeast, and this is what they're built for, these types of conditions. I think if you're UConn, you continue to do the same things, maybe step some things up on the offensive side of the football. But South Carolina, they've got to distribute the football around a little bit more. They're relying a little bit too much on Alshon Jeffrey. Get the football to Mo Brown, get it to Jason Barnes, move the football around a little bit so that UConn can't really pin them down into one spot on the field.
Well, you've talked about the running game and how this team is built. When you got guys like Todman and Dixon, that certainly helps your case to run the football.
No doubt about it. I mean, they're mixing those guys in, and Todman and Dixon, and spreading the football around. You see the production right there, 4.2 yards a carry for Todman and just over 3 for Andre Dixon. That's kept South Carolina really off balance, at a fresh back for UConn in the football game at all times.
All right, we'll see what's in store here for this UConn team that played a pretty solid first half. And Kara talking to Randy Edsall on the way to the locker room. Other than a misplay here, they gave up a 3rd and 16, and they also took a sack. But other than that, it was hard to complain about their effort today. Here's Todman, about a yard deep in the end zone, out over the 20 to the 25, and gets it out to the 30-yard line. Nice return for Jordan Todman. And while we got a second, let's go down and check in with Kara once again.
Well, guys, just before the teams headed into the locker room at the half, head ball coach Steve Spurrier stepped aside and had a nice conversation with his quarterback, Stephen Garcia. I asked him exactly what they were talking about before he went in to address the team, and he said they just need to make better decisions right now. Decision-making begins with him. But he said the whole offense is just playing shaky. They need to play better.
And Kara, here's the good news. If you're South Carolina, you're only down 13 points. I mean, you're one play away from being right back in this. Eric Norwood with a big tackle on Andre Dixon.
Well, you got to steal some momentum, and plays like that from Eric Norwood will do that for South Carolina as well. Offensively, you got to go down and get some points early in the second half so that you don't come out and feel like, oh no, here we go again. So success starts on the defensive side for South Carolina, followed up by when Stephen Garcia gets himself on the field, leading his team down for points.
Todman makes Norwood miss out over the 35 to the 37-yard line, a gain of 5. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 2.
How special is Todman when you can do that to a guy like Eric Norwood in space? A 3-time first-team All-SEC defender, and just made him miss.
3rd down, and we'll say 3 UConn 5 out of 10 on third down conversions today. You see the Gamecocks there on the bottom of your screen, 1 out of 8 when they've had the football. A sweep to the near side by Todman. Needed to get over the 40. We'll see where the spot is.
Look like they're going to spot him just short of the 40-yard line. So this is going to be a 4th down situation for the Huskies, and South Carolina answering the bell early.
And we'll bring the chains in just to see how close this is. Earlier, Steve Spurrier went for it, backed up inside his own 35-yard line and failed and gave UConn a free 3 points, basically.
Yeah, if you're Randy Edsall, though, here with a 13-point lead, you punt the football and play defense. The way that unit has been playing for him, you don't want to give up easy points to South Carolina and allow them back in this football game. Punt and play defense. But he's not moving right now. He knows it's short of the first down. Now he's finally sending his punting unit onto the field. Thought about it a little while.
Well, that's one of those decisions. If I was a coach, I'd have a hard time. I mean, I know that.
Well, if it's closer to the 50-yard line or beyond the 50-yard line, I'd have no problem whatsoever going for it in that situation. But right now, short field, punt the football, and let your defense take over.
So Cullen averaging 34.5 yards per punt. His last one was a little bit of a shank and only went 27. Here comes some pressure. He gets it off. Fair catch called for, and a flag comes in as Cullen was hit by Eric Norwood.
And I don't think this is going to be the running in. I think this is going to be roughing the kicker. So roughing the
running into the kicker defense.
Either of which will give UConn a first down. We'll see it here. And usually a very smart football player thought maybe he could block this one. And Desi Cullen left that leg out there just long enough for Eric Norwood to run into it.
You know, it wasn't violent, but, you know, it goes back to the fact that the reason the rule's here is because the punter is in such a vulnerable position.
I like the rule.
You can't. It wasn't much, but it's enough to cause some damage. Well, that'll give UConn the first down out at the 45-yard line. Here's Dixon, nowhere to go. South Carolina trying to pick it up on the defensive end. They have a huge crowd here. Obviously, South Carolina fans with about a 4.5-hour drive from Columbia straight down I-20 to get here. They have brought a ton of fans from Columbia.
Well, you see the mannerisms of Coach Spurrier there. That kind of says it all and sums the day up of how it's gone for South Carolina.
Out of the I formation, Huskies looking at a 2nd down and 10. Dixon, the tailback, went over 1,000 yards this season back in the first half. Pressure comes. Frazier hit. Ball batted in the air. It's incomplete. Looking for Anthony Sherman. Shaq Wilson, the middle linebacker, on the coverage. Pressure came from Antonio Allen. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
And you wonder how a middle linebacker can stay with a guy out of the backfield. But you'll see here, Shaq Wilson is an undersized middle linebacker at 5'11", just 210 pounds. So he can run with it with just about anybody on the field.
3-man front by the Gamecocks on a 3rd down and 10. Frazier moving left, throwing deep down the field, incomplete into double coverage, and a flag comes in late. Could be a late hit on Frazier.
Maybe Clifton Gathers, the defensive end, got there a little bit late. Coach Spurrier trying to work the officials, and this will be another automatic first down for UConn.
96 defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
It is indeed. Clifton Gathers got there a little bit late on Zach Frazier, and this will be a 15-yarder and an automatic first down. UConn's going to continue this drive. Watch the top of your screen as Eric Norwood blitzes, and you'll see him turn the corner. Ball's gone, and just that right there, you cannot do that. Pull up, go around, whatever. And you see Coach Spurrier giving him an earful.
Hand off, Todman. He's pushed out of bounds. Boy, 2 penalties. South Carolina should have the football here, and they have given UConn new life here on this third quarter drive.
You want a defense to play aggressive, and you never want to take that out of a player, coach it out of a player, so to speak. But you got to be smart about it. And, you know, if you see the football's gone, then you got to pull up on the quarterback. The punter gets the punt off. You got to know to go around the punter or try everything you can to miss that leg that's hanging out there.
Second down, and we'll call it 2 out of the eye. Dixon, handoff right side. Swallowed up by Cliff Matthews, the defensive end, crashing in.
Well, these 2 pretty good defensive ends as well. Both guys just juniors, so they're going to be back next season. Cliff Matthews and Clifton Gathers, who drew the late hit on the quarterback, but 2 guys that can wreak havoc in the opponent's backfield. Now another big-time third down in this situation for UConn. And this now, Dave, where they are on the field, might be 4-down territory where you start thinking about it on 3rd and short, maybe going for it on 4th down.
8th play of the drive coming up. 2 tight ends, I formation. 3rd down and 2. Handoff, Dixon left side. Has plenty for the first down to the 25-yard line. A gain of 6. Lottie Ajaboy hanging on to bring him down.
Or you just take care of it on 3rd down, and you never have to worry about 4th down. Boy, have you been impressed with these 2 running backs, and Todman and Dixon. And it seems as though they know, Terry Richardson, the running back coach, knows exactly when to substitute these 2 guys in and out of the lineup to get the most out of both guys.
On 1st and 10, Todman, big power sweep to the right. South Carolina stretches it out. Antonio Allen, the spur, making the tackle, no gain.
Yeah, he moved to the spur position during fall camp. And he started 7 games and saw action in 11 this season, Antonio Allen, for South Carolina defensively. Enrolled early before his freshman year and started his career as a strong safety. And that's kind of one of those hybrid positions, strong safety linebacker types. And they call it the spur.
The time of possession has belonged to the Huskies, and this is a nice drive closing it on 5 minutes. Loose football. South Carolina has it. The first mistake by UConn is a costly one. It looked as though Frazier just tripped over somebody and couldn't reach out to hand the football to Todman.
Well, and it's Cliff Matthews recovering the fumble, a guy that's come back from shoulder injuries and from a neck injury this season.
Actually tried to get it to Dixon and just stumbled. Cliff Matthews picks up the football, and South Carolina now out of the shotgun. Garcia, quick throw near side. Boy, just not a good throw by Garcia, but let's go back to that fumble one more time.
It looked as though the running back here takes one of those wide paths, and he just stumbled. That's all it was. It looked like he was leg whipped by one of his own linemen, maybe Matthew Oliver, the left guard, kind of leg whips the quarterback, and he stumbles, and the running back goes a little bit wider than he anticipates. The benefactor is Cliff Matthews of that fumble recovery.
2nd down and 10. Garcia fakes the handoff, and he'll keep it. Lawrence Wilson with the tackle. How about Lawrence? 136 stops this year, okay? I mean, that's a remarkable number. His first tackle today, though. This young man was 4th in the NCAA in total tackles. And he's actually from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, just down the road. Randy Edsel said that he just wasn't recruited by many schools. They thought he was a little too small, but they liked what they saw, thought they could mold him into something, and I think they have. 136 tackles worth.
I think he mentioned as well his father's from that area, and so it was kind of easy to get him to come to UConn.
4-man front. Garcia stands in the pocket. It's Kenny Miles over the middle out to the 40-yard line. He needed to get to the 41. That's going to be close.
It's going to be just short of a first down. And Coach Spurrier trying to get some points and generate some momentum, leaving that offensive unit on the field.
Well, if he went for it back on his own, whatever it was, 25-yard line, this is one of those when you're down 13. You definitely got to try to pull the trigger here. Your offense hasn't had much success. And the only success they had really was when they picked up their first down of the game and they went to that quick pace game, the up-tempo game, no huddle.
Now, I might try to get out on the edge because they've been kind of beaten up inside and trying to run a quarterback sneak, pad level, favored UConn. They stopped them on 4th and short earlier in this football game. So maybe you give Garcia an option to run or pass. You got to maybe sprint out. He likes to pull it down and make plays with his legs anyway.
Head ball coach trying to dial something up here on 4th and inches. 0 for 1 on 4th downs today. Garcia will work out of the shotgun. Handoff left side. Kenny Miles only needed a yard, and he got it. Got a yard and a half, actually. Moved the chains.
Well, now it's about touches. Steven Garcia, they try to go to Alshon Jeffrey. And now you see Kenny Miles getting touches, just keeping this UConn defense off balance.
5 first downs now for South Carolina this afternoon. Here goes Kenny Miles, the true freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. It was funny, we're talking to Coach Spurrier about his running back situation. He's got 2 true freshmen in there, and Giles and Miles, and he says, Kenny Miles, he just averages more per carry. And I look down at my notes, and Kenny Miles averages 5.4 yards per carry. Jarvis Giles averages 5.3. A tenth of a yard is the difference, and that's why Kenny Miles is getting a lot of the carries, according to the coach.
Both guys weigh 183 pounds, so there's some similarities there, to say the least. But they called all 3 guys. You get Jarvis Giles, Kenny Miles, and then Brian Maddox. All 3, they call them the committee. That's how they talk about those 3 guys, the committee for South Carolina.
Gamecocks 1 out of 9 on 3rd downs, and looking at a 3rd down here. And South Carolina will take a timeout and think about it with 7:17 to go in the 3rd quarter. Still looking for their first points. We're back at historic Legion Field where the UConn Huskies trying to pick up another bowl win. They've been to 3 straight bowl games, 4 of the last 6. Steve Spurrier trying to get his club to find some offense. It has been a real struggle, and they go to the Gilmore package with Stephon Gilmore checking in at quarterback on 3rd down and short. Gilmore will hand it off to Bryce Sherman, and that will be good enough for a first down out to the 47-yard line. One of the aspects about this offense, Andre, and I think it shouldn't be overlooked, is the fact that this offensive line lost their coach right after the regular season. Eric Wolford got the head coaching job at Youngstown State, a very high-energy, in-your-face type of coach. Well, he departed, and so they've had to kind of mix and match and try to have some kind of continuity up there, and I think a little bit of that is showing today.
I think you described him very well. He was a coach at the University of Houston, so I know Eric Wolford very well, and good offensive line coach, came over from Illinois.
Saunders trying to come out of the pack. Nothing happening. Lindsey Witten, the defensive end, finally brings down the big tight end. But Steve Spurrier, you try not to overplay situations like that, Andre, as we look at another razzle-dazzle play. But it's hard for these guys who have been with a coach for so long and they know what to expect. All of a sudden lose a guy you had some faith in.
Yeah, and he'd done a nice job with the offensive line of kind of keeping everything together. They had a bunch of injuries and had to move some guys around. But when he leaves to take a head coaching job, you know, that's kind of a tough situation.
Just flat out dropped by Jason Barnes.
They're just trying to run before he actually had the football. Jason Barnes, another superb sophomore wide receiver, another good young wide receiver for Steve Spurrier, but this is one he should have come away with right there, right in the middle of the floor, and he put that one on the ground.
10th play of the drive coming up. 3rd down and 18 for the Gamecocks. They converted a 3rd down and 16 back in the 2nd quarter. Pressure comes. Garcia dropped. Lawrence Wilson, the outside backer. The 2nd sack by the Huskies this afternoon, and a huge loss of 10 yards will make it 4th and 28.
Now you're going to see number 8 right here at the bottom of your screen. Just nobody, no adjustment whatsoever. And Lawrence Wilson just comes unblocked right into the face of Steven Garcia. And you talk about a fast outside linebacker with 4 sacks on the season. Lawrence Wilson, another one.
Lanning will punt it away. McClain will come over to field the punt at the 25. McClain, it was shifty. Running, gets out over the 35 to the 36-yard line. Shaq Wilson will get the special teams tackle, a 39-yard punt, an 8-yard return. Huskies up by 13.
ESPN College Football, the PapaJohns.com Bowl, is brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Order online today at www.papajohns.com. And Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event. German engineering for practically just a signature.
Well, Wednesday night, the Stardome Comedy Club, the Bowl Committee sponsors, some local Birmingham officials welcome the coaches and players and all the travel party for a fun, entertaining evening at the Stardome Comedy Club. Tell those guys we're having a good time. UConn having a good time right now, leading by 13. Although an incomplete pass, Marcus Easley. Moments ago, a big sack by UConn and Lawrence Wilson. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, you're going to see Lawrence Wilson right here in your screen, and he comes unblocked. But offensively, when you miss your offensive line coach, there are adjustments during a game that you can go over and talk to Eric Wolford. Look, we're going to slide protection to pick up this guy and that guy. When there's nobody to go talk to, that makes it tough. Illinois, I thought, missed Eric Wolford this season, his first season away from the University of Illinois.
Frazier, Isaiah Moore makes the catch down near the 38-yard line. And, you know, you saw it last night, I think, with Cincinnati.
Yeah, and my point is, Eric Wolford's a darn good football coach, darn good offensive line coach.
Now, you know, at Cincinnati, a little bit of a different story with Brian Kelly leaving, but it's still, they did not look like the same football team that had played all year.
No doubt about it. I mean, they were dominated. Tim Tebow put on a performance last night, but you know, when you don't have the guy that calls the plays and makes the adjustments, that makes it that much tougher to win and compete.
And Kelly was calling the plays for Cincinnati all year. Here's a 3rd down now. See if South Carolina's defense can stand up here. Frazier out of the shotgun. Over the middle. Oh! Should have been picked off by Akeem Auguste, and he just flat out dropped it.
Boy, and he was gone had he picked that one off. What could go wrong in this football game for South Carolina has gone wrong, Dave. You talk about some penalties that have kept drives alive. And right here, Akeem Auguste right there. I mean, you couldn't break on a football better. And a clear path to the end zone. Nobody. See the green grass? Nobody in front of him.
That's how it's been. That is how it's been today for South Carolina. Desi Cullen gets the punt off. Stephon Gilmore will let it bounce and has to get out of the way. And this is going to be a lengthy punt inside the 10-yard line. The Huskies will down it around the 7. A 55-yard punt. Obviously no return. And the Huskies lead it by 13 with 4:01 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Well, Andre, we can begin the onslaught of Longhorn and Crimson Tide discussions because it will be upon us shortly.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come right out. Who's going to win that game?
I think it's got to be Alabama. Texas unable to run the football consistently all season long, and you cannot go into a game against Alabama one-dimensional. They want to force you that way. If you go limping in that way, then you're playing right into the Crimson Tide's hands.
Well, Garcia from his end zone. His best passes have been to the wide side of the field today. That time Mo Brown couldn't hang on to it. But Gamecocks' last drive was 10 plays, Andre, a total of 5 yards after a couple of backwards plays.
Well, and they try to run the flea flicker, but so much penetration by UConn, and that's where this football game has been dominated by the Huskies, is up front in the trenches, getting pushed and getting into the face of Stephen Garcia.
But I keep saying this, though. They're only down 13.
Yeah, 2 quick scores, and they're leading the football game.
Wide side of the field, Tory Gurley with the reception. Give him 5 on the play. Take a look at some of the Stephen Garcia numbers today.
You see the passing chart here and where he's gone with the football. This underneath has been pretty much where he's had the success, going down the field. Not a whole lot of big-time plays in this offense, and which plays right into the hands of the Huskies. They want to keep you in front of them, rally up, make some tackles, and they're so disciplined that they never get themselves out of position.
On 3rd down, Garcia will keep it. Has some running room. Stephen Garcia out to the 30-yard line. Gain of 16 on the play.
Boy, nice block down the field by Mo Brown on Robert McClain that really freed up Stephen Garcia.
And some flags come in right at the 30-yard line. South Carolina has hampered themselves with a couple of personal fouls, and they will add another one to it.
Oh, boy. This is tough. This will drive a coach crazy. It's just, you know, when you think you have something going.
Dead ball. Personal fouls. 66. Offense. We'll reset the chains for first down, and we'll step all 15.
Well, we're looking for Hutch Eckerson right there, number 66.
I think he just earned him a seat on the bench. You see him right here, turns around. Maybe gets lost in the pile there, but before that, he earned him a seat on the sideline close to the coaches.
Whatever it was, it cost South Carolina 15. They still do have a first down, but first down and 10. Garcia to throw. That pass sails on him, looking for Tory Gurley.
And they've got some big receivers. We talk a lot about Alshon Jeffrey. He's a tad bit over 6'3", but Tory Gurley is another big-time freshman, redshirt freshman receiver from Rock Hill, South Carolina, 6'5", just under 230 pounds. Big targets for Stephen Garcia to throw to. Just got to find a way to get the football to these guys.
You know, Garcia said on Wednesday here at bowl practice it was one of his worst practices he's ever had his entire life. Handoff goes to Kenny Miles. Miles out over the 25 to the 26-yard line, and that'll move the chain. So they're almost back to where Garcia picked up the first down a few moments ago.
Let me tell you something. Plenty of time left in this football game. Got an entire 4th quarter to play. Still 2:40 left here in the 3rd quarter, and you're only down by 13 points. You start to generate some offense, and they seem to have found a little bit of rhythm. Running Stephen Garcia, getting Kenny Miles going, hit a couple of passes, and get themselves back into this football game.
On 1st and 10, little play fake for Garcia. He's flushed out of the pocket, and we'll run it. Garcia to the 30, cuts it back, gets hit hard at the 34 and lost the football. I think the Huskies have it. They do.
Boy, coaches will tell you, get all you can get and then get down and protect the football in a crowded area. Steven Garcia committed at least 2 of those sins on that run. He got what he could get, but he did not get himself down in time, and then he didn't protect the football right here. You can't go much farther. Get yourself down, protect the football, and Jesse Joseph was the guy that came in and knocked the football out right here from behind, and it is definitely a fumble. Scott Luttress is going to come up with a fumble recovery.
And Randy Edsall loves it. His team now going to have excellent field position at the 35-yard line.
What a game filled with mistakes, turnovers, busted assignments for South Carolina.
I don't think there's any doubt that this play will stand.
Oh, no doubt about it.
And, you know, Andre, you brought up a good point about this UConn defense. There's not a lot of flash in this group, but they just play solid football.
You know, they're not a team that's going to play a lot of man-to-man and blitz you a lot.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. We have a fumble recovery, UConn's ball, 1st and 10.
And they're not going to flash you, you know, and a lot of glitz to what they do. They don't blitz a lot. They play, primarily a zone football team, but, you know, they will mix and match. And just when you don't think you're going to get blitzed, here they come. But they go about it the smart way. Nice job so far by Todd Orlando, their defensive coordinator.
1st down and 10 for the Huskies out of the I formation. Dixon in at tailback. He'll get the handoff. Dancing around to the 30. Down to the 29-yard line. Give him 6 on the carry. Lottie Ajaboy brings him down. Well, the college football postseason continues on ESPN Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern with the GMAC Bowl as Dan Lefevre and the Central Michigan Chippewas take on the Troy Trojans. The GMAC Bowl on ESPN and ESPN360.com Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Been a part of that bowl a few times. They do an excellent job down in Mobile of getting ready and putting on a nice show for the GMAC.
Out of the eye again. Here's Dixon. Falls forward close to the 25-yard line. He'll be about a yard shy of the 1st down. Josh Dickerson with the tackle.
You were talking about Andre Dixon a little bit earlier and some shortcomings during his college career, but one thing I admire, he took advantage of an opportunity, a second chance from Randy Edsall, the head coach, and he's the first in his family to get his degree and kind of stay the course, bounce back, take advantage of a second chance, and then took care of things in the classroom as well as on the field.
Dixon will get the handoff, needs a yard, gets a couple. That'll be good enough for a Husky 1st down. Demario Jeffrey, a true freshman linebacker out of Columbia, South Carolina, with the tackle.
And it was tough on him. In 2007, he led this Husky football team, Andre Dixon, in rushing with 828 yards. He was 2nd team All Big East, and he finished there again this season with 2nd team All Big East. And that combination of Todman and Dixon, this is how special they are to the teams. Todman was voted the team's offensive player of the year. Dixon was the MVP of the football team.
Here's Dixon again. He's making a case for MVP, the PapaJohns.com Bowl. Give him 7 on the carry. Dixon now up close to 70 yards on the afternoon, and that will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. The Huskies lead it by 13. 15 more minutes to go in the PapaJohns.com Bowl from Birmingham. Back with 4th quarter in a moment. Final 15 minutes of the PapaJohns.com Bowl 2010, the fourth edition of this bowl game here at historic Legion Field. UConn leading South Carolina 13-0. Huskies knocking on the door in the red zone, looking at a 2nd down and 4. Here's Dixon, gets the handoff. Gave me a couple on that play. But Todman and Dixon, the story in this game, and it's been the story all year for UConn offensively. These two guys have done everything Coach Edsall has asked of them.
Well, they've rushed for over 2,800 yards a year ago and wondered how they were going to replace Donald Brown. Well, they had to do it with 2 guys, and they have not disappointed.
Dixon still stays in the game out of the I formation. Couple of tight ends on 3rd down. They'll stretch it to the far side. Dixon cuts it back and powers his way down to the 13-yard line for a 1st down. Jeffrey on the tackle for the Gamecocks, but moved the chains.
Well, you talk about a guy playing like he was not going to be denied in this football game. Andre Dixon right here gets the corner. It's not there, and he makes room. Watch this. Nice block by the fullback. And then it was just lowering your shoulder, committing to the 1st down marker, and he's able to get there.
Dixon again to the 10-yard line. Give him 3. Norwood with his 7th tackle today. Eric Norwood is a guy that wrapping up his career. 7th all-time in the SEC in career sacks. 3-time first-team All-SEC performer. The school's career leader in tackles for loss and sacks. I mean, just he's a stud.
Well, they've kind of played on their heels though today. He's been able to kind of let loose on a couple of occasions, but for the most part, UConn has kept this South Carolina defense on their heels, so to speak, most of this football game.
UConn wants a timeout. They broke the huddle with just 7 seconds on the play clock, so Randy Edsall calls for a timeout. We'll take it as well. Huskies knock it on the door, up 13. South Carolina fans hoping their defense can stand tall here. Huskies knocking on the door, 13-0. They lead 4th quarter. Todman and Dixon, the running backs, have been the story this afternoon. Dixon on the field right now. They have combined to go up 114 yards on the ground.
Well, you see the difference in carries, and I think it's because this is Andre Dixon's final football game as a Husky. Going to let the senior kind of carry the load today.
Out of the I formation. Play action to Dixon. Frazier will throw. Incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd down. Looking for Ryan Griffin, the tight end.
The big fella wanted that one. At least something in the area that he could bring in. Big guy, 6'6", 240 pounds. Nice big target for Zach Frazier.
You know, Andre, I just keep thinking about what Randy Edsall has said over and over since he's had this job. And this kind of team, you got to be able to run the football, grind it out in these kind of cold weather, late in the year type games, and this is working perfectly for him.
You know it's coming. You know what they're going to do. Now it's just stopping them, and they execute.
Here's Dixon, cuts it back to the 5. Touchdown, UConn. Dixon's 14th rushing touchdown of the season puts UConn up 19.
And that ties him with Jordan Todman, his counterpart in the backfield, with 14 touchdowns apiece. 2 guys go over 1,000 yards. Both guys have 14 rushing touchdowns for the season. You see it here, just a nice little underneath handoff. Picks up a nice block by Mike Ryan, the left tackle, and then finds his way into the end zone.
Point after is up and good. So UConn's lead is now 20. On his final game, Andre Dixon putting on quite a show. He's given the Huskies a big-time advantage.
ESPN College Football, the PapaJohns.com Bowl, is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
UConn folks happy right now as Andre Dixon Scores from 10 yards out to give the Huskies a 20-0 advantage here in the fourth quarter. A 9-play drive. Only went 35 yards, but nearly 4 minutes off the clock.
He's not through playing. You see the intensity in those eyes? He wants some more. Can we sign up for at least 2 more quarters? That's the look that Andre Dixon's giving you right now.
Bryce Sherman trying to kick it to the outside. He gets to the 20 and dropped at the 23-yard line. And Andre, this has been a story that will never go away as long as Randy Edsall is coaching at UConn. It'll be talked about, and it's the adversity that this team had to overcome this year. So much has been made. This team lost 5 games this year by a total of 15 points, and you wonder what could have been. And then they throw this into the mix. That is the jersey of Jasper Howard, who was fatally stabbed early in the morning of October 18th at a school function, a dance just outside the building where the dance was being held. And this team went on to lose 3 straight games before they rallied back. They continue to honor Jasper Howard. They bring his jersey with him on the road. They talk about it. They deal with it, and they play football. And they play at a high level, and it's amazing what they've been able to overcome to get here to this bowl game. And it really is an amazing story, the fact that this team never lost it, and they could have easily lost it, especially when they lost 3 in a row.
Yeah. When they lost it 3 in a row and then they had the bye week come about, it was just at the perfect time. And I got to, just kind of hats off to Randy Edsall, the head coach, of how he handled this and how he was able to keep this football team together and kept them playing and kept them focused.
That pass is dropped by Mo Brown on 2nd down and 10. I had a chance, and we were all in our meetings listening very intently to what he had to say, but it was, so much has been talked about, how did you handle this team? How's your team been? I asked him, I said, what have you learned about yourself during this whole situation? And he says, never let a moment go by where you don't express your true feelings.
Yeah, but the loved ones around you, make sure that you tell them exactly how you feel about them, and not just every once in a while, but daily.
There's another 3rd down. We've said that a ton today for South Carolina. They're 3 out of 12 on 3rd downs. There's Alshon Jeffrey. That ball is nearly picked off. That is the 8th drop pass by the Gamecocks today. And that one nearly went back to the end zone. Lindsey Witten almost had it.
And Lindsey Witten was gone. I mean, he was gone. He had dropped back in coverage. He's a defensive end who leads the football team with 11.5 sacks. And you see the football come up. He's right there. And if he's able to hold on to that football, he's going to walk into the end zone. Nobody in front of him. Boy, a big defensive lineman's dream.
Landing with a line drive punt taken by Robert McClain. He swallowed up the 40-yard line. 12:33 to go here in the fourth quarter, and South Carolina really from the opening kick, they've just not been in sync.
Yeah, it started early in the second half, but it started the first half. You have the block running into the punter, you have the late hit on the quarterback, a couple of drop passes, a bunch of drop passes for this South Carolina football team, and then the fumble by Stephen Garcia to kind of top it off. But they have put it on the ground, missed some opportunities, turned the football over. Long day for the Gamecocks.
Here's Dixon on the ground trying for another 100-yard game. He has 4 of those this year. That man will not be happy when he looks at the numbers from this game in terms of drop passes and penalties and just miscues in general. Look at the fumbled snap on the field goal attempt. Of course, the turnover. It's just been a nightmare.
Yep, you see the penalties, and yet UConn yet to have committed a penalty in this football game.
Last time Gamecocks were shut out was second game of the 2006 season when Georgia beat them 18-0.
What a long time.
Under 12 minutes to go. Out of the eye, Frazier hands it off to Dixon again, dancing around. Gets a couple on the play. Time for us to head back to our ESPN studios and Reese Davis. Reese.
Dave, another nightmarish day for the SEC going on at the Jerry Dome right now for Ole Miss in the AT&T Cotton Bowl, where they've committed 5 turnovers against Oklahoma State. Just 7-7. Rebels just got a goal line stand to hold on to it, and we'll see how that one unfolds. They're still in the game, unlike South Carolina. And Patrick Pinckney will try to give another SEC team a hard time when East Carolina takes on Arkansas.
5 turnovers by the Rebels today. Luckily, they're tied up.
Frazier throws it out in the flat. Out to the 48-yard line goes Todman. You know, it's been a mixed bag for the SEC in the bowl season. You see Florida last night just dominating Cincinnati. But, you know, on New Year's Eve, Tennessee got throttled by Virginia Tech. Boy, how good are the Hokies going to be next year? Most of that team is coming back.
Well, there's no middle ground either. You know, you look at it, I mean, that may be the closest ball game going on between Ole Miss and Oklahoma State, because, you know, there was a blowout last night, Florida over Cincinnati. This one is kind of ugly that's in front of us with South Carolina and UConn, and you know, you just, there's no middle ground where there's a close football game.
Pressure comes again from South Carolina. No flag. Stephon Gilmore didn't have much of a chance as South Carolina went for the block. He gets stopped at the 13-yard line. Down 20 points. Steve Spurrier, does he have a 21-point play in the bag? Not many coaches do. Back in a moment. That look pretty much sums it up if you're a South Carolina fan in the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl here at historic Legion Field. UConn out of the Big East. They just joined the FBS as a full-time member in 2002, and this year they finish up 3-4 in Big East play, 7-5 overall, but they turned it up a notch the last month of the season with 3-game winning streak. As South Carolina looks at first down and 10. Garcia under pressure. He's dropped right back at the line of scrimmage. For more on this Husky season and this Husky team, let's go down to Kara.
Well, guys, Andre touched on it. Randy Edsall and that bye week that they had after the 3rd straight loss on November 7th at Cincinnati, he actually gave the team extra time surrounding the bye week. He knew they were emotionally spent and they needed to just get away and clear their minds. He said they needed one big win, Dave, and boy did they get it. Double overtime at Notre Dame.
I think his phrase was, nobody will really understand how much that win meant to this program. It was a huge win, biggest win he's had, but in so many ways that game meant a lot to this Husky program.
Win may have changed the ways in at Notre Dame as well. Affected them, because that game ultimately, I think, did Charlie Weiss in.
Incomplete pass on first down and 10, looking for D.L. Moore. I'll tell you, Randy Edsall, you know you're thought of pretty highly. And
good football coach.
You know, to what extent contact was made between Randy and Notre Dame, you know, there's a lot of discussion about that. But let's face it, Notre Dame had some interest in Randy Edsall, and you don't pick up the phone and make a call or two if you don't think the guy's a great football coach. I think UConn is lucky to have him, and he's done a marvelous job in just a short period of time at this high level. Pass is caught by Kenny Miles. That's out around the 29, about 4 yards shy of the first down marker.
You know what I like about Randy Edsall is that players that come to the University of Connecticut, when they come to UConn, they leave better players and better human beings. You know, he graduates as players. They get there, they develop physically on the field. Good football coach.
Complete on third down. 8:40 to go in the contest. Kenny Miles, the intended target. Scott Luttress, the middle linebacker, defending the play.
Well, Luttress is a guy that had to move with the loss of Greg Lloyd Jr., who was out with a torn ACL about second to the last game of the season. And they moved Luttress from strong side linebacker inside, and he has just kind of taken off, got used to it, and is playing with a lot of freedom right now.
4th down. Gamecocks got to go for it. Garcia throws it as he's falling down. Pass is caught by Miles. That'll be a 1st down, and give Garcia all the credit on that one.
Well, that's the kind of play right there that has you fired up about Steven Garcia. His ability to compete under duress right here. Guys hanging on him, and he's able to hold it together and still looking down the field, then deliver a strike for a 1st down.
Garcia dives forward, a head-on collision, and it looks like a Husky player slow to get up, Jerome Jr. Boy, those are the plays where you see so often a guy get hurt, whether it's a stinger or some kind of neck injury.
It just hurts a little bit more because it's so dadgum cold down there.
I would never know it's cold by looking at you, I promise.
Hey, I'm bundled up, big fella. Whatever it takes. You know, you got to win at all cost. And whatever it takes to win, then you just, you do it.
Well, at kickoff, the temperature was 32 degrees with about 15-mile-an-hour wind, making it feel like about 25 degrees here.
It felt like teens to me.
3-man front, but now the backers creep up to the line of scrimmage. Garcia on 2nd down. Quick hitter to the outside. Mo Brown makes a couple of guys miss. He's into Husky territory at the 44-yard line. Gain of 12 on the play. Well, Capital One Bowl week continues on ESPN tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern with the Valero Alamo Bowl as Greg Jones and the Michigan State Spartans try to contain Taylor Potts and the Texas Tech Red Raiders spread offense. Capital One Bowl week on ESPN and ESPN360.com tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Garcia again has to scramble out, nowhere to go. Drop back at the 47-yard line. Scott Luttress with another Husky sack. That's 4 sacks this afternoon for this Husky defense that came in with 30 sacks on the season.
That's not an easy transition when you go from the outside into the middle at that linebacker position, but he's kind of made a smooth transition into the middle of that defense for Todd Orlando. 8 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, and a sack now for Scott Luttress.
Garcia in the pocket. That ball's batted. That'll be 3rd down and 19 coming up now. 6:47 to go. Boy, you want to talk about a frustrated head ball coach. Nothing has gone right for them.
I had a feeling he's going to get it fixed, though. He seems so at ease this season, like he was really kind of rejuvenated. The batteries were recharged and really enjoyed the season as it kind of progressed. But this will bring you back to the point of frustration.
15 of 35, 91 yards. Those are the numbers of Steven Garcia. Pressure comes. Garcia hit as he throws. Pass is dropped. I believe that's number 9. That is the 9th dropped pass by South Carolina this afternoon. Wesley Saunders, this time the culprit, and Garcia took another shot.
Well, he gets the pressure in his face from Lindsey Witten, the defensive end. But Wesley Saunders is a guy that I like. He doesn't put too many of these on the ground. And just enough of a distraction to where it kind of plays in the part of him missing that football. But boy, he has taken some shots today, Steven Garcia.
That's Mo Brown in motion on 4th down and 19. Garcia throwing it deep, and that pass is picked off at the 7-yard line. Robert Vaughn comes up with his first interception of the season. Torrey Gurley had snuck behind the secondary, but Garcia on the run just couldn't get it there.
And that's exactly what Randy Edsall's telling the safety to that side, Robert Vaughn. He does come away with the interception, but you can't allow a guy to get behind you, because if Garcia is able to get enough onto this throw, it's going to be a touchdown to Torrey Gurley. Right here, climbing the ladder, Robert Vaughn. Long day for that young man.
Is this one of those games where you just you throw the tape away if you're South Carolina? goes to Jordan Todman out over the 10-yard line. Time for us to head back to Reese in the studios.
Well, we're about to get cranked up in Memphis in just a little while. Bottom of the hour, we'll take you to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. No quarterback in America. More of a penchant for big plays than the big-armed Ryan Mallett. Arkansas and East Carolina coming up.
Well, big Ryan Mallett, we got a chance to see him on a couple of occasions this year. And you talk about a guy that can just fit the football wherever he wants to on a football field. Ryan Mallett can make every throw there is to be made.
The most excited you were all year were the games we had Ryan Mallett.
He can sling it.
Dixon out to the 10-yard line, popped right there. Ryan Mallett, as the season wore on, I think he was the best throwing quarterback. And, you know, and I include Colt McCoy in that mix. I mean, nobody was throwing it better than Ryan Mallett down the stretch.
Yeah, he is a guy that, like I said, big arm, and Greg Childs on the outside. They've got a young group of receivers that are going to be back again next year. Watch out for Arkansas in the SEC next season.
If they can get a little bit of defense, and just a little tinge of a running game.
That's all, just a little bit, huh?
That's what you said. You just got to make them sniff the run a little bit.
Just pay attention to it.
Right. Out of the eye, it's Dixon. Needed to get it out to the 18-yard line. He won't be able to do that on 3rd down, so that'll bring up a 4th down. Dixon, 30 carries, 98 yards on the ground today.
Well, I like that. 2 guys competing, he and Norwood. Norwood helps him up, and they kind of dap each other up a little bit. Like it. Good sportsmanship.
Long afternoon for Eric Norwood, but still, what a career. So he gets a hug on that bench. Maybe the last time that he takes the field in a Gamecock uniform. We will see him at the next level. There is, I call him a no-doubter.
No doubt about it.
Desi Cullen will punt from his end zone. Ball is partially blocked. Hits it to 30. So Shane Beamer's special teams come up with a block late in the game. So Eric Norwood's career coming to a close at South Carolina. His club down 20. It's the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl from Birmingham, Alabama. 4:01 to play. And UConn out in front, looking like they're going to take home the trophy. The Big East is looking to go 4-0 here in the PapaJohns.com Bowl. South Carolina, after the block punt, sets up shop at the 40-yard line. Garcia going up top, far side. Pass is caught down at the 2-yard line by D.L. Moore, the redshirt freshman out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, with his 7th grab of the season, a gain of 38 yards.
Well, you see why there's reason to believe that South Carolina's headed in the right direction. There's another excellent catch by D.L. Moore, another young receiver. We've talked about Torrey Gurley, Alshon Jeffrey, Jason Barnes, and now D.L. Moore getting himself into the mix. Talented group of pass catchers for Steve Spurrier.
Brian Maddox in at tailback. DeMarco the fullback. The toss sweep to Maddox. Gets bumped and falls forward. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Touchdown, South Carolina.
Oh, wait a minute. 3:26. Maybe an onside kick or two. Quick score.
I love your optimism.
Stranger things have happened, my friend.
Maddox with his 6th rushing touchdown. Spencer Lanning to attempt the point after. It is up, and it is good. So South Carolina averts the shutout. The 38-yard pass set up the touchdown. The longest play of the game for South Carolina was that 38-yard pass. Well, the college football postseason continues on ESPN Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern with the GMAC Bowl as Dan Lefevre and the Central Michigan Chippewas take on the Troy Trojans. The GMAC Bowl on ESPN and ESPN360.com Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
You got a chance to see Troy early in the season. Levi Brown, Dan Lefevre.
Yeah, a couple of talented QBs
nice
going at it.
matchup, yeah.
There's Maddox. Not a lot of action carrying the football, but does pick up the touchdown on the ground. Look at the passing totals this season. Levi Brown, almost 4,000 yards through the air. Case Keenum, 5,600 yards.
Those guys down in Houston, they know how to throw it around a little bit.
What was your high? Do you remember your high? What was your high season throwing the ball?
In 11 games?
Yeah.
See, I'll make that.
Yeah,
I'll throw that in there.
Every time I ask
11 games. 46.99.
Okay, I just wanted to make, because I didn't know it was 11 games. You know, you keep just.
Well, they play 14, 13 now.
And they all count, right? Bowl game didn't count for you, did it?
Bowl games didn't count back then.
On the onside kick, it's taken by Connecticut down to the 31-yard line. Alex Molina with the catch, and he nearly took it back to the end zone. So 3:21 to play in this one, and there was hope for South Carolina. It just blew out of the stadium with the wind.
Boy, especially the way this big offensive line is played for the Huskies. I mean, they basically took over this football game. Mike Hicks, Zach Heward, Mo Petrus, the right side of that offensive line, played every snap together this year.
Here's Dixon right up the middle, inside the 20 down to the 16-yard line. Antonio Allen drags him down, but Dixon now up over 100 yards, 113 today.
Yeah, he was magnificent. Between the tackles, he did it, following some nice blocks right up the middle of the field, just kind of grinding it out. He's that kind of back. He's a grinded out guy, and then setting up some nice blocks and getting himself into the end zone for his lone touchdown of this football game. 31 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Fabulous afternoon, and he's our Capital One Player of the Game.
First down and 10 from the 15-yard line. Andre Dixon wrapping up his career in fine fashion. Fifth 100-yard game, had 153 and 3 TDs against Louisville, went for 114 against Notre Dame, but had that all-important touchdown in double overtime to send the Huskies on to victory. Here's Dixon again, left side, bounces it inside the 10, down to the 5, and stopped at the 4. Mario Jeffrey making the tackle.
Well, I like him. I really like Andre Dixon. There he kind of flipped the football to the official, and he wasn't ready to catch it, and he's just apologizing. So many times you see, guys celebrate for scoring a touchdown, costing their team's field position. I saw a game the other day, or actually yesterday, almost cost Auburn when Ben Tate goes up to try to dunk the football over the goalpost, cost them field position. Northwestern goes down and scores. No need for that. Just play the game. Act like you've been there before.
I hear you. It's not that hard, is it?
Well, it makes you ill sometimes.
Here's Dixon again. It's down to the 3-yard line. Give him about a yard and a half maybe on that carry as the clock approaches a minute 45. UConn will pick up their 8th win of the season, their 4th bowl appearance in the last 6 years, 3rd straight. I mean, when you look at this UConn program and where Randy Edsall has taken it, Andre, what are your impressions? What does it look like for 2010?
Well, I think the sky's the limit. They're going to get good play at quarterback from Zach Frazier, a good group of young sophomore receivers in Kashif Moore and Isaiah Moore. So they're going to have some playmakers back on the offensive side of it. The offensive line, everyone comes back except Mike Hicks. A good young defense. This will be a team in the Big East that I think we're going to talk about. Jordan Todman will be back. at running back for Randy Edsall, and you know, he's going to go out and recruit. They'll be solid next year.
Randy Edsall.
No, it's too cold for that. He's trying to tell him, I'm going to take it.
He got the hood on, though. Showing a little bit of the quickness.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, what a way to end what could have been a disaster on the football field. It was, you know, it was close. It was heading in that direction after the Jasper Howard situation, and they found a way.
Takes a special individual to hold it together, and that man right there was able to do so. Good quality person, high character individual, and a good football coach.
A great story. It could have been a disastrous story, but it turns out to be a great story as this Husky team bonded in the honor of that fallen Husky football player, Jasper Howard. They win 4 consecutive games to close out the 2009 season, and the Huskies finish 8-5 with a 20-7 victory over South Carolina in the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl. The Gamecocks will fall to 7-6. Steve Spurrier thought they had some momentum after a very impressive win over Clemson to cap off the regular season, but now there are some questions to be answered. Can they get back on track in 2010 with Stephen Garcia and a talented core of running backs and receivers? We shall find out in the coming months. Right now, let's go down to the field, check in with Kara and Coach Randy Edsall.
Victorious Coach Edsall, the adversity that your team has faced this season, you can't even describe it in words. Your young men finished with 4 straight wins. What does that say about these guys?
The character they have and the will and perseverance that they have, and they're great kids. I said it was a special team at the beginning of the year, and man, they're just a special group of guys, and I couldn't be more proud of them and what we've been through this year, and the 5 close losses, you know, losing Jasper. It's just so emotional right now that it's very difficult.
I know that you hand out game balls. Let's talk about some of these performances today. Who do you think gets you game balls for offense, defense, and special teams in this team effort?
Well, I tell you what, Andre Dixon, what a guy he is. And, you know, I got a special relationship with all these kids, but what Andre's been through in his career, to end his career this way here today, I'm just more proud of him than anybody. And our defense just really rose to the occasion and just did a phenomenal job. And, you know, that's the way we play defense.
Well, the fireworks going off. Thank you, Kara. And Randy, it's just, you could tell. I mean, it's just one of those fitting ends to a triumphant conclusion to a season that could have gone astray. And what a testament. I mean, you hate to keep talking about the story, but not many teams have ever had to deal with this. And it's a great way for UConn to end this season and look forward to 2010.
Yeah, it's a tough deal, and I think going forward they are going to have a talented group of young men. Now, they'll miss Andre Dixon, but Jordan Todman will be able to carry the load for them offensively. They get 4 offensive starters back on the offensive line. They'll be ready to go for Big East play next season in 2010, that's for sure.
Well, this defense for UConn put on quite a show. Held South Carolina to just 205 yards. Stephen Garcia was 16 of 38 for 129 yards today. Led him in rushing, though, with 56 yards. But the story offensively for UConn was Andre Dixon up over 100 yards. So once again, our final score, UConn 20, South Carolina 7. If you would like more on today's game, join us over on ESPN News for a post-game extra report. And for live coverage of the trophy ceremony down on the field, log on to ESPN360.com. So for Andre Ware, Kara Capuano, and the rest of our ESPN crew, I'm Dave Neal saying so long from Birmingham, Alabama, where UConn wins the 2010 PapaJohns.com Bowl. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.